To configure your server as a NAT router, with the server powered off, we need to insert a second network card to the machine. So if we go to Settings, Network, Adapter 2, and enable the network adapter, and we'll choose the NAT settings. We can now power up the machine and configure it. Now that the machine has started, if we go to the Network and Sharing Center, change the adapter settings, we will find our new network card. As before, we will rename it to show what it does. Then we'll bring up its properties for IP version 4. The only change you need to make is to use your own machine as a preferred DNS. You can do this by using the loopback adapter. Now once more we need to add a role to the machine. And this time we need the network policy and access server. The only feature we need is routing and remote access. And again, we wait for it to install. Once the role has installed, again from Admin Tools, we'll find routing and remote access, and we need to right click on our server name, configure. We wish to have network address translation, and we choose the public interface that's connected to the internet. And that's the machine set as a NAT server. However, now that we're connected to the internet, it is important to check one or two more settings. Firstly, inside DHCP, it is important to make sure that you are handing out a router option. So open up the IP4 branch, server options, and configure options. Number 3 allows a router to be set, otherwise known as a default gateway, and inside there you put in the IP address of your server. You also want to make sure that you're only serving IP addresses out to your internal network. So right click IP version 4 and bring up the properties. If you go to Advanced and Bindings, check that it's on the internal card only. The second thing that needs configured is DNS, and again you're checking that you're only serving your local network. So again, we'll right click on the name of the server, bring up the properties, and at the moment we are serving both internal and external networks, so only the following addresses, and leave the two internal IPs selected: IP version 6, IP version 4. Also, as your DNS server cannot contact the whole world, you need to provide a forwarder address, and in here you add the IP address of your next DNS server. You can have several. I'm using my local router. Google DNS, and the second Google DNS. Make sure it's in a sensible order, in my case the local one at the top, and that will allow us to resolve IP addresses to names quickly. Now that that's configured, you can test it from your client.